Howdy y'all, it's Russell back with Gwinnett Lawns in beautiful, that's right, Atlanta, Georgia. Today is July the 31st, 2022. Look at that sky. Look at it. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful today. All right, on today's video, one of my mowers has a problem. As you've already seen the thumbnail, the Honda HRX 217 2018 model. It will crank over, but it won't start. So what do? Well, let's diagnose it and see if we can't find out what the problem is. All right, so the first thing is what was happening when the mower was running. Well, I was using it to cut the backyard of one of my clients, and it was running perfectly fine. I turned it off, went around, did my weed eating, etc., came back. I couldn't pull the cord. Almost like it was locked, like the blade was locked up or something, and finally it released, and I pulled and it will not start. So, first thing to check, obviously, make sure that it has fuel in it, and it's got like 3/4 of a tank. It's perfectly fine. And we're going to check and make sure that, let me get a paper towel here. Make sure that this has got engine oil in it. Okay, we're good there. It's got oil in it. It's just a little low. All right, so remember that an internal combustion needs 3 things to run. It needs fuel, it needs air, and it needs some kind of ignition. If it's a diesel engine, it needs compression. If it's a gas engine, it needs spark. So first thing we're going to do, we know that it does have fuel in the tank. We're going to pull the air filter off. And it does have a little bit of stuff in it, but it's not clogged up. So that we know is fine. So we're going to go ahead and attempt to start it and see what happens. So the choke is automatic. All right, that does not sound good. All right, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to pull this off, and we're going to put some starting fluid in there just as a quick check. Let me grab that and we'll be right back. All right, so I'm going to just spray a little bit of starting fluid in there to see if it'll pop off at all. Huh. That's weird. Okay, so it's acting like it kind of wants to. So the next thing I'm going to do is we're going to pull the boot off of the spark plug, and I'm going to use a tester and we're going to see if we have spark. So I hook one end into the spark plug wire, one end to the plug, and I'm going to bring the camera over here so you guys can see, because I won't be able to. There's a clear chamber right there. So when I attempt to spin the engine over, you should see a spark, and I'm going to close the garage door. It's going to be dark, but it's so bright outside, you'll be able to see the spark better. All right, here we go. Whoa, that's not good. All right, so I can't see that from the front, so I'm gonna stop the video and play it back and see what happens. All right, so I just looked at the video, played it back, and we have a nice healthy spark. So what that tells us is that the coil is not the problem. So I'm gonna pull the spark plug off, and we're gonna see what we can see with this. Oh, that's not, it's pretty ugly. All right, something is definitely a mess here. Yeah, that spark plug does not look very good. So let me see how this feels with no spark plug in. All right, so let me take a peek in here. So I'm just looking at the piston. All right, so let's do the quick obvious thing first. Let me go dig up another spark plug. I believe I have one, and replace that and see what happens. All right, so I had one, got one spark plug. This is original NGK. So let me show you the difference. This one right here has a lot of carbon deposits on it. So let's replace the plug. Now that still doesn't give us a reason why there's so much carbon on it. It's possible the valves could need adjusting, but it was running absolutely perfectly fine. I run this mower several times a week for at least an hour in my own yard. I use ethanol-free fuel its whole life. So let's just see what happens. All right, let's see. All right, it doesn't even feel right. All right, so I have gone ahead and put the mower up here on this ramp, and I pulled the spark plug out, and I've loosened the valve cover bolts. There we go. I just used a little bit of the fin on the top. There should be some oil spill out. All right. The problem is, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, the rocker arm's cracked. See how this part right here is down? There's a crack in it. That's why. I was thinking that maybe this adjuster had backed out, but see right there? Okay. All right, so this is the exhaust, and I'm going to take, wow. All right, look at that. See that crack? Ooh. Yeah, it's a good thing this thing didn't come apart. Okay, so this engine is, all right, so it's a couple days later, and I went and got a brand new rocker arm for the exhaust side. Let me show you the difference here. See how the old one got a crack right there? All right, so here we are back the next day, and as you can see, I'm back inside the mower. So I tried to start it, and of course, I should have checked this before, but the exhaust valve would not move. So what I found out was that the exhaust valve right here was completely stuck. I mean, it was going nowhere. What I have to do is I had to take a pair of pliers and I had to pull it out as hard as I could, and it finally came undone. I used a variety of PB Blaster, WD-40. I had to take this drill, and I put the drill on here. And I had to spray PB Blaster, use a little bit of what do you call that? Scouring pad, and just do this over and over. It's just taking me several hours. I had to let the PB Blaster sit, but I can now move the valve is free now. So that was what happened. Was this is my guesstimation, is that the exhaust valve stuck. I don't know why they do that, but it stuck, and the rocker arm was the weak link and it cracked. So yeah, so hopefully this will be the fix. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put the rocker arm back on. I'm going to go ahead and readjust the valves. I'm not going to bother putting any sealant on the, the valve cover. I'll put the spark plug back on, and before I crank it, I will, well actually, yep, I'm going to do that and let you guys see what I see when I see it. So just keep this in mind, that probably of both valves, this valve is completely fine. It's perfectly free. So, yep. Let me get it back together, and we'll be right back. All right. This is exactly what's supposed to happen. You see both valves opening freely. All right, so I'm revisiting the mower. I think I found out what the problem is. So ultimately, the engine is not in time. All right, so what I did was I took off the recoil cover. I took the shroud and just moved it to the side. And this is the fan that goes on top of the flywheel right here. This is the flywheel. And I wanted to check to see if the cam and the crank agreed with each other as far as top dead center. And I'm gonna bring you guys in for a closer view, but this keyway right here should face right in line with the spark plug hole, right in the center of the engine. Well, if you look at the cam, lobe is facing this way. So if the cam were at top dead center, it would be about right. It would be straight up and down, right here. And the reason that you can verify that is because that's why I have this mirror. There are two raised lines on the bottom of this cam gear that are supposed to line up. They're sitting like this. They're supposed to line up with the case. So as we can see here, on top, you see how that keyway, the keyway now is facing this way. This is top dead center as far as the crank's concerned. This is top dead center as far as the cam's concerned. So this is a very easy fix. Somehow it has jump time. So what we want to do is we want to move this back to top dead center on the crank, And then I'm basically going to lift the timing belt up, rotate the cam over so that the lines line up, and then put the belt back on, and we should be in time. So let's just do that. And I'll try to insert a picture of what you, there's no way that I don't think the reflection is going to show what it looks like on the cam. So I'm just going to lift this up like this, and I'm going to keep tension on it. I'm going to move the cam gear around till it's straight up and down. Okay, all right, I'm gonna give it a quick start, see if it's working. We're gonna have a lot of oil leaking from out of here because I haven't sealed it yet. I'll have to take that back off, but let's see what happens. One more time.